A father, a knife, a son bound on an altar of stone. For centuries, this has been one of the most disturbing stories in all of Scripture. God asks Abraham, a man who waited decades for this child, to take his only son up a mountain and offer him as a burnt sacrifice. How could a loving God ask this? Was this a real test, or did God already know what Abraham would do? And what does this ancient, brutal story have to do with your life today? Stay with me, because by the end of this video, you'll see this isn't just a story about obedience. It's a story about what faith actually costs. If questions like this challenge and deepen the way you read Scripture, hit subscribe right now, because we're about to walk through one of the hardest chapters in the Bible. Genesis chapter 22 opens with a simple but devastating line. God tested Abraham. Not tempted, tested. The distinction matters. Scripture elsewhere makes clear that God does not tempt anyone toward evil. This was something else, an examination of what was truly first in Abraham's heart. God's instruction is specific and painful. Take your son, your only son, Isaac, whom you love, and go to the region of Moriah. Sacrifice him there as a burnt offering on a mountain I will show you. Notice how the text lingers. Your son, your only son, whom you love. Every phrase presses deeper into what this request would cost. This is the child born after 25 years of waiting, the child of promise, the one through whom God said Abraham's descendants would become as numerous as the stars. And yet, the text doesn't record a single word of protest from Abraham. Early the next morning, he saddles his donkey, takes 2 servants and Isaac, cuts wood for the offering, and sets out for the place God had told him. 3 days. That's how long Abraham walked with this command sitting in his chest. 3 days to change his mind. 3 days of silence on the road. Scripture doesn't tell us what he was thinking, and that silence is part of what makes this account so unsettling. Before we go further, drop a comment below. If you were in Abraham's position, do you think you could have taken that walk? I want to hear your honest answer, because this story only means something if we sit in its weight rather than rushing past it. When they arrive, Abraham tells his servants to stay behind. Then he says something remarkable. Stay here with the donkey while I and the boy go over there. We will worship and then we will come back to you. We. Not I. Abraham speaks as though both of them are returning. The book of Hebrews later reflects on this moment, suggesting Abraham reasoned that God could raise Isaac from the dead if necessary. Whether or not Abraham fully understood what would happen, his words reveal a strange, stubborn hope in the middle of obedience. Isaac carries the wood. Abraham carries the fire and the knife, and then Isaac asks the question that cuts straight through the narrative. Father, the fire and wood are here, but where is the lamb for the burnt offering? Abraham's answer is one of the most quietly profound lines in the entire Old Testament. God himself will provide the lamb, my son. He doesn't know how. He doesn't know if. But he says it anyway. They reach the place. Abraham builds the altar, arranges the wood, binds his son, and lays him on top of it. He reaches out his hand and takes the knife to slay his son. And then, at the last possible moment, the angel of the Lord calls out from heaven, Abraham, Abraham, do not lay a hand on the boy. Do not do anything to him. Now I know that you fear God, because you have not withheld from me your son, your only son. Abraham looks up and sees a ram caught by its horns in a nearby thicket. He offers it instead of his son, and names that place the Lord will provide. That's really the heart of this whole story. It was never actually about the death of Isaac. It was about what Abraham was willing to hold with an open hand. If this video is helping you see Scripture with fresh eyes, smash that like button and share it with someone who needs to hear this today. So why would a loving God ask for this in the first place? Scripture never fully softens the discomfort here, and it shouldn't. But there's something worth noticing. God stops Abraham before the knife falls. The test reveals Abraham's heart. It doesn't require the actual loss, and many readers throughout history have seen in this moment a foreshadowing. A father, a beloved son, a mountain, would carried up a hill, and ultimately, God himself providing the sacrifice so that no one else would have to. This story also raises one of the oldest tensions in faith, the difference between blind obedience and trust rooted in relationship. Abraham didn't obey because he understood everything. He obeyed because, after decades of walking with God, he had learned that God's character could be trusted even when God's instructions made no sense. That's a hard word for us today. Most of us will never face a test like Mount Moriah. But all of us have something we hold so tightly that letting go of it feels like losing a part of ourselves, a relationship, an ambition, a comfort, a plan for our future. The question Genesis 22 leaves sitting in front of you isn't really about child sacrifice at all. It's this: is there anything you're holding onto more tightly than you're holding onto God? Subscribe, turn on notifications, and comment Moriah below if this story challenged the way you think about trust and surrender.